Okay, so we're live. Okay. Purpose of doing this live is there are a few people who are, I believe it's clickbaiting. But these people are talking about how many times been to St James's Park, etc. And it's been a lot of times over the years. Different managers, etc. So, part of this is going to be speaking about costs, and those costs are associated with um, the new social media apps. And one of the things that I try to do is to get to as many games as I can humanly do. It's not possible all of the time. And so there was some people have mentioned about well, season ticket holders. That's a lot of money to shell out to go and watch football. Never mind the cost of getting to Newcastle upon Tyne, i.e., because the car is off the road and I'm having to rely on family to get me up to St James's Park. And part of the issue with St James's Park has always been since they switched over to the ballot system. We're having to go and get the tickets now through general sale because there is a huge amount of people and those people all want to be at St James's Park the same as us. So yeah, it has been a struggle. Now, there's four people here, and let's see what they have to say in chat. Just be polite, you know? I mean, I have to abide by very strict rules here on YouTube. So, you know, you're being polite in comments, you get a reply. Now, we now know that there are 3 games left this season, and in those games, I want maximum points, 9 points, so that we can push for third, which I said at the beginning of this season. I actually said it just before the start of the season because third is better than fourth, which I also said to many people when I attended games at St James's Park. So this isn't going to be a very long live. No, it's not. I'm just trying to get across to a few people who are saying, oh, we want to see your ticket history. Well, no. Here's the thing. Um, the, the last large event that happened was when Newcastle United did the parade. Now, had I had the car on the road, there would have been no issue. I would have took the members of the family who were not ill up to St James's Park, but there were multiple members of the family who were ill. So a decision was made to pass on the tickets which we had to other people, and that happened on a platform I'm not on, and that's Twitter. Sorry, X. It's called X now. But it is what it is. And those people who got our tickets for that special event, they went into the part which was close to the stage for when Eddie Howe, Jason Tindall, and the rest of our squad came out to present to the crowd the Carabao Cup. Now, the thing is this. I went this afternoon to make an appointment, to send a message to the MP, who it's all changed now. And the MP is for the area of England where I live. And 3 times it's come back, address not found. So that's a bit of a quandary. But it's nothing to do with Newcastle United, and it's nothing to do with anything to do with YouTube. So here's the thing. When I can afford to attend St James's Park, whether that's in the Gallowgate, whether that's in the Milburn Stand, the Leazes Terrace End, or more places, times than I can think of, in the Leazes, we have attended St James's Park. And it's just that since the last time I came up, I've got a little bit worse. My left knee is knackered. And there's also other things, bills. Universal Credit gives you an amount of money and you can't ask for more. It reminds me of back in the old days with a young character in a very famous film, Oliver. Please, sir, can I have some more? Do you know what I mean? And here's the thing. Yes, that is the acoustic. Yes, it is. Now, that I was playing that earlier this morning on TikTok to somebody in their live. And I have songs on that platform, and I have songs here on my YouTube channel. The ones which are on here on my YouTube channel, they are Newcastle United related. And one of those songs, which is Streets of Home, is getting converted into a game, which, it's going to be epic. So the reason why I'm doing this is because there's a few comments which have turned around and says, I have to show my ticket history. Well, no, that's the end of it. And why? Because, like I say, at the end of the day, the last time when I was saying about that was for the parade, we couldn't get there. So people were saying, oh, well, are you going to be where are you going to be, and etc. And I turned around and says, can't go. The tickets have been given away. I mean, the tickets didn't cost at anything anyway. So there was no exchange of money. So there we go. And the hope is this, because we've got 3 games left. The hope is this. In the 25-26 season, renew the membership and then travel up to Newcastle to take in a game, whether I'm in the Gallowgate, the Milburn, the Sir John Hall stand, or in Leazes Terrace. And what I want to be able to do is drive myself and the rest of the family, give others a break from driving that distance. That's what I'll be happy doing. So what we got here, play us a song. Well, this is not a music one. No, this is me speaking to was it Football Uncensored and Ewan, who will be somewhere. I mean, it may be that they are doing other things this Monday night, but what I wanted to speak about was the fact that people are turning around and saying they want to see all the way back of the ticket history. It's not going to happen. I attend games when I can afford them. But what I want to see with Newcastle United, after these 3 games have been played, and fingers crossed, we finish in 3rd to guarantee the UEFA Champions League. There are 5 spaces, but I've said 3rd. And I was right the last time when I said 4th. Yeah. So the hope is, after the season is finished, Paul Mitchell does his work to bring in Bryan Mbeumo, Jonathan David, or David. I think that's how you pronounce his name, David, and Mark Gahey from Crystal Palace, and others. Now, what I would like to see after this season has finished, 200 million put onto Alexander Isak's head to make sure that nobody else in the Premier League will touch him. I want him to stay at Newcastle, and I want him to keep scoring goals. If that happens, and he can stay for, let's say, a decade, and keep doing what he does, season after season after season, hopefully he will get close to Geordie legend Alan Shearer's goal tally for Newcastle United. But here's the thing as well. I want Harvey Barnes to score more, Anthony Gordon to score more, Jacob Murphy or Bryan Mbeumo for next season. And here's the hope as well. The hope is, as we move through to August, is make sure www.geordie-nation.co.uk goes live. And that way, the hope, and it's just a hope, is I can then turn around as people sign up and create business adverts. I can turn around to Universal Credit and say, thank you very much, signing off. And then eventually have offices for Geordie Nation up in Newcastle upon Tyne, because that's where it's centred. And keep going from there. So I'm going to look at chat. Turn the camera on the laptop and show. No, look, listen. Football Uncensored, yeah? Straight to you. No. N-O. That's as much as I'm saying, and you can take it, you can leave it, you can jump up and down, go funny colours. Yeah, I'm just telling you that this video, this live, is because you and Ewan, for whatever reason, believe that I haven't been up to St James's Park and attended games. I've lost count of how many games I've been to. Now, hi Chippers, how are you doing, mate? Right. So what we got here? John Laddie, my girlfriend sister, said she would like to meet up when you are up for football. Okay, yeah. What else? Paul, you weren't much bigger. No, I was the rugby at Kingston Park. That was different. And let me just tell you something, okay? When I did drive for the buses, I would do 6 days. How many days in a week are there? How many? Come on. Right. As yeah, you know what it is. Goodbye. Listen. St James's Park has gone through many changes. Here's an example. First game was in the Leisures End. There was no roof, i.e., that particular night I attended St James's Park, I walked home drenched. It rained, and it rained hard. I think, memory serves me right, we either drew that game or we lost it. But that was a long time ago. And at that very first game, I had an experience. And the experience was the Gallowgate. The roar from the Gallowgate was like, oh my God, I'm in the wrong place. And my first time in the Gallowgate, I was at Barrack Road end. And I could hear the east corner, which was so loud, it was unbelievable. We went then from those days to the days where the gigantic scoreboard disappeared. That's a long, long time. So what we got here? Oh yeah, it's what? Okay. You know, I'm going to say this to you, and this is to Football Uncensored, because you're in chat. Yeah? 2 seasons back, I said before a ball had even been kicked, I was putting a £10 bet through a friend. Now, that £10 bet was placed, and that person was still in the northeast of England. And I told you all here, some of you weren't even here in chat, but I said it in a video. I've put £10 on, and the odds were 7 to 1. And when I came up to St James's Park, I spoke to Adam Pearson, who is the largest Newcastle United YouTube content creator. I spoke to John Sinclair. I spoke to PD Proudlock. I also spoke to Eddie H, Tyneside Life, and told them all. Oh yes, and Steve Hasty of NUFC Matters. I turned around and told them all. There was a £10 bet at 7 to 1 to finish 4th. That money was donated to the food bank. And like Football Uncensored has turned around and says, there's 120 quid to the food bank. Well, if you're going to offer odds like that, yes, don't tell me about it. Donate it. And that's all I'm going to say. If you're going to tell people on a YouTube channel, donate it. Don't tell me about it. Because I've done what I've done, and I got a thank you from the West End Food Bank for my donation. End of story. Right. Have you watched the last video when you spoke? I don't care. Yeah, I'm doing things now in 2025 I never did before. And some of those things I have really struggled with. And other things I haven't. It's life. You know? The one thing I will say to you is this. There will be a lot more live from August. I think it's August the 17th of this year when the new season kicks off. So I'll do a live maybe at the beginning of August to tell you where I believe the next May Newcastle United will finish, and whether or not they will retain the Carabao Cup or whether they will go for the FA Cup. And it all depends on what happens in the summer. If the summer we can spend, let's say, £350 million. If we can spend that, keep Alexander Isak, keep Harvey Barnes, keep Anthony Gordon, and the backbone of our squad, next season we're going to progress. And the goal for this season, with 3 games left, is third. It's better than fourth, correct? And you see, that's what I'm trying to say to you all. And the hope is, by the time the new football season kicks off, 25, 26, the hope is the Seeking You has gone live. Geordie Nation has gone live. That's the hope. So, to get tickets, they have to be allocated to a supporter. You're still carrying on, man. And because you're still carrying on, that's it. You know, at the end of the day, I've said me piece. You don't believe it, that's your problem, not mine. Now, couple of things is this. The hope is that Paul Mitchell will go on a spending spree, and that spending spree to get who Eddie Howe wants. As long as we keep Alexander Isak and our other players. Yes, we do need backup for Jacob Murphy. That's either Brian Mbeumo or Jonathan David of the French part. Oh, are they playing? Which player is better? Given. Because those players that Fireburn has said, I haven't got a clue. I just know about the ones who Newcastle United content creators talk about. And those who you just mentioned, I haven't got a clue. I don't even know what league and what country they play in, if they do play. Oh, they're beating Forest. All right. Well, as I said ages ago, when Forest were riding in third, I said Newcastle would take third. Now, I wanted them to win the FA Cup, but that didn't happen. However, they did beat Brighton in the FA Cup, who nicked the result up at St James's Park, which you all know about. Yeah, of course I haven't got a clue. Of course. You know, here's a thing, right? like I said in a previous live, tell you one place I haven't been in St. James's Park. You know, when you are in the corner of the Gallowgate, where you have the studio part, this side of you, as you're looking out at the pitch, here's where I haven't been. Level 7 in the Millburn. Never been there. Everywhere else, yeah. Spent quite a few games in the noisy part, which is East Corner, and it is very, very noisy. But my favourite place, that's behind the goal. And it's just above. So I'm looking down on the top of the goal. When you're behind the goal, well, that's not the best place to be. So you can take a lot of things, football uncensored. You can take a lot of things out of context. But I know since I was little to right now that I've been there. Now, you and Ewan, who keep popping up in comments, keep saying, oh, show us this and show us that. Well, no. End of. You don't believe? There's a thing which I said to somebody a long, long time ago, and it's this. If you don't like what I'm showing you, what I'm talking about, yeah. And that's all I'm going to say on it. Now, let's hope with these remaining 3 games, Newcastle United can leapfrog Manchester City, and let's hope we can get and secure 3rd. I will be ecstatic if that happens. We got Chelsea, Arsenal, and Everton to beat to get 3rd. Then we reset. And during that reset, the hope is the players who Paul Mitchell is trying to get come to St. James's. And we push from 3rd higher. That's what I want to see. So, there we go. You know what I mean? To those in chat who do not believe, I'm telling you, right? If you don't believe, you don't believe. I know this much. The hope is by doing the Seeking You, Geordie Nation, the hope is that like somebody mentioned earlier, just behind there is an acoustic guitar. The hope is I can sort an album between now and whenever. That's the hope, because that's going to cost a lot of money. So, to all of you who have been here, I've got 3 likes. There's a lot of people being in here. However, thank you all for coming on. See you all on the next live, which was going to be again on the laptop, because can't go, there's too much information on the mobile. But thanks for being here. Hit that on the way out, and see you all in the next. Thanks for watching.